She's full of grace and she's full of beauty, and I could say a whole lot more. Please welcome Jane Sibbery.
First there was a shell, but there was no pearl. Then there was a boy. Then there was a hand reaching. Then there was a wave like no other wave. Then there was a sound like no other sound, the sound we'd been waiting for so long. Music we heard, da 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 da. Da 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 da. A rose is how we shall know. A rose is how we shall flow. Then there are two or more gathered on the sand, singing songs of praise, hallelujah, grateful for this place of beauty. And then the sky began to flow as day bled into night. The night began to roil as waves started to crash. The birds began to move back, and then there was the sound of tumblers changing. What? And then there was a shout. What? What's going on here? People rushing past. The dogs began to growl and the baby. What? What's going on here? I cannot tell. And then there was the sound of music breaking. And then there was a cry like no other cry. And a phoenix lifted up, so terrible to see the sound of music leaving. separation from each other like this again. And then we heard this sigh, so we leaned into you, gathered to your side as the nurses walked on by. You said, I love you more than life. And you looked up at us and said, yes. And we looked down at you and we said, no. And then you curled up again and everything went white and peaceful. First there was a shout, and now there is a pearl, and there is a girl, and there is a hand reaching. Yes. And as I came around the corner of the building from the last village, many villages, I saw embedded in the wall a shell, and I saw a pearl, and I saw a superhero's cape, and I saw the mast of a ship, and I saw the footprints of a dog, and I saw the word M-A-G-I-C. And I turned over to you in the garden, and you said, how beautiful. And I said, thank you. And you said, no, I mean, how beautiful are those that have found their way here tonight. I said, really? You can climb the highest mountain, even as you curse the next guy. And you can ford the raging river, even as you make the waitress cry. And you can cross the plains in your 7-leg boots, even as you worry about how you'll pay the rent. And you can hear a child crying on the other side of the world, even as you can't hear your own friend. Look behind me to the sky and tell me what it is that you see. And Mark, look at my guitar and tell me what it is that you don't see. Thank you. Even as we fall from grace, so grace shall lift us up and teach us how to use our newfound power better. Power so deep and hidden, power that now is bidden. Release a superhero inside. You can climb the highest mountain, even as you make the waitress cry. And you can ford the mighty river, even as you curse the next guy. And you can cross the plains in your 7-leg boots, even as you worry about how you'll pay the rent. And you can hear a child crying on the other side of the world, even as you can't hear your own friend, your own friend, your own friend. Even as we fall from grace, so grace shall teach us how to use our newfound power better, picking us up and dusting us off. Power so deep and hidden, power that now is bidden. Release He's a superhero, the superhero. And as I came around the corner of the building, I saw embedded in the wall, I saw a shell, I saw a pearl, I saw a superhero's cape, I saw the mast of a ship, and I saw the footprints of the dog. They're gone. Where are they? And then I saw MAGIC, and I looked over at you in the garden. And this time you leaned forward to me and you said, call magic. Call magic? I can't call magic. I just started a show. And even as the audience peers over the stage at this vast expanse and sees the reflection of their deepest part and ignores me partially because it is so beautiful and we are so lucky, even at that, I must go on. So I will call magic later. Please take a message. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who you're walking to. You never know who you're sitting beside. You never know who you're taking for a ride. When life becomes a dream, when dreams become reality, when gently down the stream becomes walking down the sunny side of the street. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who you're walking to. You never know who you're sitting beside. You never know who you're taking for a ride. You can't trust anybody nowadays. This is the hardest part of the concert, but please bear with me. You can't trust anyone. You can't trust the lady at the laundromat. You can't trust the checkout girl. You can't trust the kid with the squeegee or the lawyer. You can't trust anyone not to be the most beautiful you've ever met. Why have we never met, darling? Yes, we've been married 40 years. And I came around the corner of the building and I saw a shell, I saw a pearl, I saw a superhero's cape, the mast of a ship. And I saw a woman in a cloak, and it looked sort of like a superhero's cloak, but not quite. And as she came towards me, she looked very plain and unassuming, but she looked up at me just as she passed, and I saw that her eyes were bright blue and brimming with intelligence and humor and twinkling, and I felt like I'd been zapped. And then she put her head down and continued walking, otherwise very plain, someone you would never notice. You make me uncomfortable. You make me feel uneasy. You make me feel self-conscious. You make me feel almost sleazy. I pick up the phone, I don't call you. I pick up the phone, I don't call you. It's not that you judge me, I don't feel like you do. It's just how wobbly my spine feels when I stand next to you. Uncomfortable, uneasy, self-conscious. You make me feel almost sleazy. I pick up the phone, I don't call you. I pick up the phone, I don't call you. I pick up the phone and I don't call you. I pick up the phone and I don't call you. But if anything important ever happened in my life, for example, say I had to get my children home from school in the middle of the day in a national crisis, emergency, and I could not do it myself, and I had to know they were home safely. Or say I had to get my signed, sealed documents to the queendom on the other side of the hills by midnight, or I would lose my fiefdom and all the little fiefs that went with it, and all the virgin men that I'd been storing up for Beltane, but somehow Beltane passed me by, so I let them loose, and they felt no pain. Or say on a more serious note, I had to get my beautiful mother across the holy river, and I could not row her there by myself. It would be you that I call. Yes, you. Why? Because you're Your word is good. Your word is good, is gold, is God. Your word is good. Marry me. And as I passed this couple in the park, she was saying, marry me. And he was saying, I can't marry you. Marry me, I can't marry you. Marry me, I can't marry you. And I didn't know what to think of this, so I looked back at you in your garden, and you said, call magic. So I said, all right. Magic. 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 Can I get on with my show now? And she said, yes, get on with your show. And a big black dog came running towards me, wagging his tail. And I said, is that magic? And you said, yes. And I said, oh, well, I don't know why I always make things so complicated, but sure, I can take Magic for a walk. So Magic and I kept walking. And we walked right into an old Tai Chi friend of mine, a martial artist, a master. He could sit in a room teaching his students, and just without moving a muscle, only his energy, he could make hail hit the windows, and we would go outside in disbelief. I'm not kidding. I'm not even taking poetic license to tell you this. Or he could sit there and not move a muscle, only his energy, and move sexual energy around till we felt a bit hot and bothered. And he took pride in this because he had a huge ego, and he liked to insinuate that perhaps he was a bit larger than life. He was a fantastic Tai Chi artist, and he had a lot of power, but could he make the bridge between his heart and his power? Not at that time in his life. But when he does, oh my. You had a good thing, and you blew it. When it came right down to it, you couldn't get down to it. What you couldn't get down to was simply treating a girlfriend right. We never saw a girlfriend so lonely as when you would spend the night. You had a good thing, and you blew it. When it came right down to it, you couldn't get down to it. What you couldn't get down to was simply treating someone right. She was such a lovely girl, she was such a sweet delight, but when you were coming over, she would slash on her lipstick. She would jab on her perfume. She would snap on her bustier, yank on her thong. From these few things we knew that something was wrong. We'd watch her jam on her stilettos and cram on her hat. She was doing her duty, but she was hissing like a cat. Ew! Just trying to mobilize her lover to zero if she was lucky. And she did it all with her booty, not her beauty. You had a good thing, and you blew it. When it came right down to it, you couldn't get down to it. And I'm not talking flexibility, and I'm not talking the Kama Sutra, but you were only nice to her when it would suit you. You had a good thing, and you blew it. When it came right down to it, you couldn't get down to it. And now you hear that somebody else is treating your girlfriend right. Well, do you want to know what she does when they're coming over for the night? Well, do you? Sure. Why not? Otherwise, the show would be pretty short. Okay, good. Well, she would, first of all, go into major chords, which made all the difference, as you will notice. Observe this. Okay, she would dab on her perfume, not jab it on. And she would kiss her lipstick, not slash it on. She would caress her bustier. Oh yes, and she would thrill herself softly with her thong. She would admire her stilettos, and she'd look in the mirror that away, and then she'd turn and look this away, and she took great delight in her own beauty, such is her right. And she took great delight in mobilizing her new lover to greater, 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 greater heights. Just a new perfume, a slight modulation of her voice. And she cut out the Brazilian bikini waxes because it mobilized him. And she backed up a bit so that they could still engage in some kind of... She had a good thing. but he blew it. And when it came right down to it, he couldn't get down to it. And when he couldn't get down to was simply treating someone right, we never saw a girlfriend so lonely as when he'd come to spend the night. Which doesn't mean that in the future, when he connects his heart and his power, that you will no longer be lonely. But such is the story of my Tai Chi friend. Now, he came up to the front of the stage. I'm not talking behind his back. He heard the song, and we braced for his attack. And he said, "Ladies," and we said, "Yes." And he said, "I had no idea that I treated someone like that, and I thank you for opening my eyes, opening my heart, and if I ever have the privilege of another relationship, I will do my very best to make sure I only reflect back my beloved's beauty." And we were so shocked that we sort of fell forward because there was nothing to push against. And we fell forward into confessing things we'd never done before, like, doesn't matter, I've done that so many times myself, and way more times than you. And then I went back to the dressing room and I said, how did he get us to say things like that, things that we'd never done before? And she said, "I think he did a martial arts move on us. He got us to use our own energy to trip ourselves up." Oh my. And I said, "You're paranoid." She says, "No, I don't think so." And I looked down at Magic, and Magic was wagging his tail. I said, and I kept walking. This is a song called "Send Me Someone to Love," and I hope that Emmylou Harris does it sometime. Someone said there's one line in there that will stop her from being able to do it, but I don't know which line, and I don't see what the problem is, but maybe you'll know. Send me someone. Send me someone. Send me someone to love. Someone whose kiss I could understand, and who would understand the pressure of mine. Someone whose hips I could understand, and who would understand the rhythm of mine. Someone who understands the power of making love divine. Send me someone to love. Send me someone. Send me someone. Send me someone to love. Someone whose lips I could understand, and who would understand the silence of mine. Someone whose silence I could understand, and who would understand the love within mine. Someone who cares more for seeing true than wanting to be right. Send me someone to love. Send me someone. Send me someone. Send me someone to love and love and love. Someone who would not become immune to my charm over time. Someone whose first strength is the strength of their spine. Someone who won't mind a menage a trois, you and me. God is great, God what is good in bed. Send me someone, send me someone, send me someone tonight. So, do any of you know what line might not work for Emmylou Harris? I just don't know. I think it's quite possible that many of you have never heard of me before and probably don't know quite where to put me. But be open. Don't judge me. Don't write me off. Be open and have fun. And there's something about listening to music outdoors that is so special. It includes how the performer feels because usually you have something coming back. And when you can send it for a vast expanse, unrolling from your voice is much information that you normally never get. And as you look at me and then beyond the stage, the same thing. I find that I make the biggest decisions in my life when I can see a long distance. How about you? It was this kind of view that I looked at 4 years ago, and I was near San Francisco, and I decided I was so heavy, so many responsibilities, so many things stopping me from getting on top of my life to-do list that I had to make drastic moves or die. So I changed my name, and I sold my house and all my things, and put the key in the mailbox for the real estate agent, and walked down the street to the subway and went to the airport and went on tour for 2 months. And all I had was what was with me. And I ended in Brussels, so I stayed there instead of going back to my home like a boomerang. And so the constellation of my life is now a new shape. It's not like a spirograph that ends up back in the middle of the hub again. It's more continuing on and on and on. I don't know what's ahead of me, and I've tried to let go of controlling too much, which is a hard thing to do because control usually means that you don't trust that you won't die if you make a mistake, just like a horse. A horse seems to be like that. If they are scared, they think it's not just something that might hurt them, it's live or die. Sort of more black and white. I guess that's sort of how I am. I don't know about you, but so my life is much improved. I'm much lighter. My sense of humor is stronger, more resilient, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's similar to the journey that many of you are on too. And my hope as I stand here every night is that I can give the best of my ability, my gift, whatever, or just my intentions to lift you up for a little while. Such is the power of music. But enough of that. I really have to get to the train station with my dog Magic because it's my night to welcome everyone. And in our villages, as you know, there's always a group of people who go to make sure no one feels left alone. No one feels like an outsider. So some people go to the schoolyard, some people go to office parties, some people go to train stations. And just make sure there's no one standing there. We bring everyone in because, in fact, that is the truth of it. And there's a chorus here. If you'd like to sing along, it goes like this. Da 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 da. And let me sing the last line alone. Thank you very much. Here we go. Okay. Come on, Magic, you can sing too. Where, how, when, if a train is coming, a train is coming, a train is coming, who, how, what, if a train is coming, a train is coming, a train is coming, oh, to our town, to our world, to us all, and no one shall be left behind, none at all, not the least of sparrows, no. Don't give up, get ready, prepare ourselves, get ready. Here we go, get ready. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. May the first word on our lips in thankfulness be. Whoa. Yes. Yes. I didn't mean to say yes. The universe did a martial arts move on me. And so, since I'd said yes, I continued on through a backyard in Oakland, California. I was blindfolded and I was led to a hut, a chicken hut. And I braced for the fatal squawk. But it never came. Oh. And inside that chicken hut, or whatever it was, they cut the clothes from my body. They cut off my fine leather jacket from New York. My black jeans, tight-fitting 10% lycra, long sought after. My high heels, my pearls. But I was so desperate to lose the heaviness that had dogged my trail since I was a little girl, that it finally outweighed the otherness. And as they sprinkled me with some kind of water and incanted words in a language I'd never heard before, I don't know if the water or the words worked. But I do know I will never, ever forget their kindness to a stranger. Do you remember the dark tent, the desert? Do you remember the dark tent where we worked for the greater good? And do you remember the day that the thunder broke? We knew it was coming, but not so soon, Lord. Not so soon, Lord. And the tumblers spoke. Do you remember the dark bar? It was Friday. You came in. The piano player was not that good. You walked over like you knew me to the dark side of the dark bar. We had a few drinks, we had a few laughs, and then we left in a taxi. I never asked your name. You overtipped We climbed some filthy stairs to your place where we strayed. And then this strange thing happened. I looked at you. You looked at me. And then we made love, and it scared me. I only expected sex, and I ran down to the taxi. I was calling out some name. Do you remember the dark tent where you held me after a long and lonely And as the birds fade on this, the birds of wherever I am fade up all over the world because I've stopped playing indoors as much as possible. I play outdoors, or I play in houses, living rooms. I can no longer stomach going to a bar where the waitresses are bored and the bartender seems almost to be perversely making more noise in the quiet songs. And the energy is low vibrating, and it takes everyone to lift it up just to get to zero. And then we can move out on the branch together. Or some other musician. I'm talking about all musicians. All people who are trying to present something of beauty that can be charged up enough to resonate with other people's charges and exaggerate the good. So I play in houses, and the windows are always open and the doors, and magic has a stronger voice, and the sirens go at the right time in the song, or the bells chime in Paris, or in Saskatchewan. Nothing happens because it was a snowstorm and all the windows were closed. But that meant something too. You know what I mean? And never is there a lack if there are no lights and no props. For the imagination of us all is way more than is needed. No problem there. And now I'd like to play a song on the piano, and you may know it from Katie Lang's record, 49th Parallel. And have you heard her sing? You know Katie Lang? I'll go in order from greater to smaller. You know Katie Lang, and have you seen her in concert? And have you heard her sing Love Is Everything? Or The Valley? Yeah. Well, this is Love Is Everything. And although she changed some of the words to she and she, sometimes it's he, sometimes it's she, but it's all about love. And I do believe that love is hard enough to find, so if anyone finds love in any way, encourage it, exaggerate it. to learn how to love. Maybe it was to learn how to leave. Maybe it was the games we played. Maybe it was to learn how to lose. Or maybe it was to learn how to choose. Or maybe it was for the love we made. Oh, love is everything they said it would be. And love made sweet and sad the same. But love forgot to make me too blind to see. You're chickening out, aren't you? You're banging on the beach like an old tin drum. I can't wait till they make the whole kingdom come, so I'm leaving. Maybe it was to learn how to fight, or maybe it was for the lesson in pride, or maybe it was just the cowboy's way, or maybe it was to learn how to cry, or maybe it was to learn not to lie, or maybe it was for the love we made. Oh, love is everything they said it would be. And love did not hold back the reins, but love forgot to make me too blind to see. You're chickening out, aren't you? You're banging on the beach like an old tin drum. I can't wait till you make the whole kingdom come, so I'm leaving. First he turns to you, then he turns to her. So you try to hurt him back, but it breaks your body down. So you try to love bigger, bigger still. Though it's too late, it's too late. So take a lesson from the strangeness you feel, and know you'll never be the same. And find it in your heart to kneel down and say, I gave my love, didn't I? And I gave it big sometimes, and I gave it in my own sweet time. I'm just leaving. I'm just leaving. Oh, everything. Spring is in the air, spring is everywhere, spring is in the air, spring is everywhere, love is in the air, love is everywhere. You cannot see it, you cannot hear it, but you can feel it. Spring is in the air, even as we, spring is in the air, even as we, spring is in the air, spring is in the air, even as we hunker down and pull our loved ones closer to us and go underground in Mahalalel Jireh Shekinah Shibboleth we are walking with Mahalalel Jireh Shibboleth Shekinah we are learning with. Everyone is moving towards, everyone is moving towards, everyone is moving towards, everyone is moving towards the gates of the city, the gates of the city, the gates of the city. People are talking about it, people are wondering about it. The bells are ready to ring, the bells are ready to sing. Even as the silence, even as the wondering, even as people have worked so hard on themselves for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and have not seen the fruit of their labor, and they're wondering if it's worthwhile, but don't give up, get ready. Mahalalel Jireh Shekinah Shibboleth we are walking with. Mahalalel Shibboleth Mere Mechanaya we are, oh we are ready for processions, and the bells are waiting to ring, and the gates are starting to open, and everyone is learning to sing. Spring is in the air, 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 spring is in the air. Even as we hunker down, spring is in the air. All the sap is starting to run, but you can't see it. And the rivers are starting to move beneath the ice, you cannot see it. And the birds are starting to return, but they have not crossed the border yet. And the processions, processions. Thank you. Any questions? Any comments? Are you enjoying this? Time well enough spent? This is a song that I wrote for the Muppet Puppets, and I look forward to them doing this someday, so if it seems a bit goofy in parts, just imagine the Muppet Puppets. I love them. I think the humor of Jim Henson is incredible. It reminds me and confirms for me that humor and music and other things are all arts, and the highest vibrating of them is sacred. And I love his humor and people that make me laugh at myself and in the best of ways. But I do heckle people at comedy clubs when they, and I don't mean to, it just comes out. There'll be more dancing and less worrying and more singing and less worrying and hurrying, but everything will still get done on time. Well, I don't see how. Well, there'll be all the money in the world. Yay! Or none of all the money in the world. Boo. You see, we'll go to a kiosk at the side of the road and just arrange for however much we want per week. We can choose to be rich, yay, or poor, boo, and mix it up any time we like, depending on what we want to learn. When we are queen, when we are queen, there will be no sexual frustration. Huh? Well, anyone who's frustrated will be attended to. Huh? By workers from the temple at the side of the road. And they will attend to us all, but at the same time they will teach us how to pull it up our spine until finally we spout poetry and heal ourselves and the community. Huh? And there'll be no signs saying you can't do this, and no sign saying you can't do that. We'll be guided by common sense. Common sense, you ask? What's so common about that? Good question. Perhaps it is simply a reflection of the movement of the planets and the stars. Hear ye, all ye good people at the Peg Egan You know where we are tonight, and I know who you are. This queendom will be neither male nor female in spite of the name. And this queendom will be invisible, even as darkness roils within the same space, but on a different plane. And we will be given the unique opportunity to practice alchemy available to the everyday person, just the power of positive thinking. There will be more happiness, so people will look better in photographs. But I don't mean happy all the time. Perhaps it'll simply be the absence of being afraid of fear. And all the windows will open in offices and hotels. And it'll be more about giving and less about getting. And farmers and teachers and nurses will be returned to their honored place in society. And there will definitely be no more homework for kids. When we are queens. When we are a queen. But the time for celebration is still operating beneath the river of ice. And still headlines crowd in upon us. And headlines such as, the jury still needs therapy 2 years after the trial is over. The jury still needs therapy 2 years after the trial is over? Headline, soldiers torture prisoners in their boredom. Soldiers are bored and they torture their fellow man because they're bored. Headline, more women joining the army. More women are being trained to kill women. Headline, the highest cause of death in a modern day war now is suicide. Small village, England. I see these kids in a bus shelter, which is fine, but I notice they're there day and night. Phoenix. Sorry. Phoenix. By the way, isn't the sound marvelous tonight? I can tell from here that it's very clear. This is the work of Mark. Not that easy to do. Phoenix. Golden sands. Children. Running in the sun. da 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 da. Music, Phoenix, Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens. Children, training day and night, all the time it seems. Out of respect for nobility and dignity, and giving them the strength that they will need. And the stars up above move closer in this time. Children, teenagers, small village England bus shelter. They're there day and night, and they watch me walk by again and again. Their foreheads are closed, and they're smoking. They're too young for the pub, and they've been kicked out of school. They're talking tough, and they are shivering in the rain. Phoenix, yellow sun turning to red, music starting to. Children, teenagers, the crack of the ship, the hull, there is a rumble, and the glass building begins to, and the glass building begins to, and the children run as the music starts to. I talk to the villagers, I talk to the grocer, I talk to the teachers, I talk to the minister, and they say these kids are damaged goods, they can't be fixed. So I talk to the anvil maker, I go back in time, I talk to the swordsmith, I talk to the warriors, the queens, I'm looking for my brother's keeper. But it's a downward spiral, and the more the villagers fear these kids, the more they reject these kids, and the more they reject these kids, the more hurt, and then confused. For aren't these villagers, the adults, afraid of them? And what kind of world are they growing up into? Oh my gosh. Finally they trust me. They watch for me every day. We sit on the cold cement floor. They've got so much to say. They say da 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 music da 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 da. Michael, Marshall, Caitlin, Kiera, Kunshar, Llewellyn, Brionac. And on the last day, I walked down to the bus shelter, and they jumped up because they weren't worried about being cool anymore. And they showed me their designs because the night before, I had said to them, "Problem, solve thyself." I said, "What would you kids suggest for another village in the same situation?" And it was like pressing a button, and they had so many ideas and thoughts. But the one thing I will tell you is they had designed a beautiful clubhouse, and it was silver. And the most important thing was it was soundproofed. For these kids were desperate to be louder. They had been hushed all their lives, and some precious survival instinct told them that they needed to blow out the pipes if they were going to have any chance to come alive in this life. And as I stood up to take the bus, a bus that I finally did need, they reached up to hug me, and their hair fell away from their foreheads. And their foreheads were open now because they trusted someone. And I saw that their eyes were bright blue and sparkling and brimming with intelligence and humor. I said, "Has anyone ever told you how beautiful you are? How needed you are?" As we fall from grace, so grace shall lift us up and teach us of her power. Power so deep and hidden, power that now is bidden. Come on, come forward, release a superhero, release a superhero, release a superhero. And I came around the corner of the building, and I saw a shell, I saw a pearl, I saw a superhero's cape, I saw the mast of a ship. I saw a Tai Chi belt. And I saw the footprints of a dog. Oh my gosh, magic, where have you gone? And I looked over at you in your garden, and I saw people streaming past you, and I said, where are these people going? And why are they taking chairs? Because everyone knows that where they're going, they lie down. And it is a magical place, and it replaces the hospital rooms where we drink protein drinks such as the Ensure and all those other horrible things. It's an old, old place, and mostly the animals have known about it. It's an abyss in the rocks where the fumes deep down in the earth, which once inspired the oracles at Delphi and gave them the force they needed to project into the future or the past, to bring wisdom forward when it was needed. This abyss where animals lie down when the timing is correct and they fall asleep forever. Really? You never know who you're talking to. You never know who you're walking to. You never know who you're sitting beside. You never know. No 7-league boots, no capes, no fancy hats. The superheroes of today, they work quietly away. They seem to like it like that. It's in the air, to slip in and slip out without recognition. The only way to tell who they might be is to look into their eyes. And I see everyone. I see everyone. And my last song before is a song that is my wish to you all, for everyone, not just here, everywhere. And there are so many that have so little, and we are so lucky. And this is a wish, if it be right for you, of course, always that codicil. And that is that you fall into bed late at night, dead tired from using your superhero gifts to their maximum, that the phone rings off the hook asking for your help using your special skills. And you fall into bed wearing your boots, and if you're really, really lucky, you have a corncob pipe in your mouth. And you sleep the sleep of the exhausted and happy, and your forehead is open, and you're very photogenic even as you sleep. And this is my wish for you. Imagine a world where the columns of the temple come to life. At first stiff, and then flexible and starting to flow. And then striding down the street, building strength and momentum, and inner reflection of our inner beauty. Reaching here, helping there, until separation from our brother is just a puzzling memory. Instead of quietly sitting in our cubicles at work, tapping our pencil and watching the clock and wondering how this came to be. Leroy works the counter at the liquor store. To look at him, you'd think there's nothing more, which is fine. Anyways, I saw him at the train station on the day of the fire. If ever you need help, he's the guy. And Marjorie works the diner in Oklahoma. She's making sure that no one feels alone. Bye-bye. She's famous for her kindness and for her soul. advice. But if you saw her on the bus, you'd not look twice. Imagine a world where the columns of the temple come to life, at first stiff and then flexible and flowing, striding down the street, a perfect reflection of her inner beauty, inner glory, reaching here, helping there, until separation from our brother is just a puzzling memory, instead of quietly sitting in our own apartments with our own fridge and our own TV. And Patricia, she works the cosmetics section at the Five and Dime, which is the name of the song, Five and Dime. She's quiet as a mouse, and you'd never notice her. And she takes all the overtime because she can, and so she does, which is fine. But on Wednesdays, she announces the sales in cosmetics from the overhead PA, and she changes. She comes to life, and her forehead opens, and these bright lights come out of her cheeks, and she waxes poetic about mascara and bronzers, and the customers just stop shopping and stand in the aisles and smile. And Kyriakos, he's a Greek elder on the street where I used to live. They say he used to be a chauffeur for someone very grand in Toronto. Lucky Lady Grand, say I. Anyways, I know he often doesn't feel that well. He's very, very old, but still every morning he gets up and puts on a beautiful white suit and a cravat and a fancy hat, and he goes walking through the street, sending us off to work, greeting us all. You look wonderful, you look fabulous, have a great day. Imagine that. Imagine a world where the columns of the temple come to life, at first stiff and then flexible and flowing, striding down the street, a perfect reflection of our inner beauty, inner glory, reaching here, helping there, until separation from our brother is just a puzzling memory, instead of quietly sitting at the family reunion saying, oh gosh, you don't want a picture of me. Oh no, you don't want. Well, actually, we do. And Quincy, he's a hard-assed kid with a foul mouth and a squeegee at the bus shelter. Good night, all. God bless. Safe travels. So many times I've played and there's rain or cold or bugs, and this seems very, very luxurious tonight. Is that true? Santa Maria, Santa Teresa, Santa Anna, Santa Susanna, Santa Cecilia, Santa Copilia, Julianus, Petronilla, Frater Ashad, Frater Pietro, Sister Mary Angelica, Santa Santos Miroslav Vladimir, and all the rest. placed upon the steps, and a baby cries, and high above the church bells start to ring. And as the heaviness, oh, the body settles in, somewhere you can hear a mother sing. Then it's one step, then the other, as you step out on the road. You step out on that road. How much weight, how much? Then it's how long and how far and how many times. Oh, before it's too late. Calling all angels, walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, we're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how this goes. On every day you gaze upon that sunset with such love and intensity. Why, it's almost as if, oh, if you could only crack the code, then you'd finally understand what this all means. Oh, and if you could, do you think you would trade in all the pain and suffering? Oh, but then we'd miss the beauty of the light upon this earth and the sweetness of the leaving. Calling all angels, walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, we're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how. Calling all angels, walk us through this one, don't leave us alone. Calling all angels, we're trying, we're hoping, we're loving and we're hurting, we're crying, we're calling, 'cause we're not sure how this goes. And as I came around the corner of the building one last time, I saw a shell, a pearl, a superhero's cape. I saw a dog's footprints. I saw the brow of a serene child. And I saw the word magic. And I looked over at you, and you leaned forward to us. And you said that single word, that precious word that hung in the air like a drop of dew. It was an invitation to us all to be well, to be very, very well. And we said, we do. Yes. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for inviting me here, all the people here.